In today's video, I want to talk to you about how you can know what your true value is, what your absolute worth is. Not what the world assigns to you, not even the value that you assign to yourself, but what your absolute, inherent, intrinsic value is. But let me tell you about Antonio Stradivari. Antonio Stradivari was an Italian crafter of stringed instruments. He was born in 1644. He died in 1737. And he made all sorts of stringed instruments like violins, cellos, guitars, harps. But he was most well known for his violins, his Stradivarius violins. And I'm sure you've heard of them. Most people have. You don't even have to be a musician. You don't have to even be able to read music. You don't have to know how to play a violin. Most people have heard of Stradivarius, so they can always equate Stradivarius with quality, with value, with worth. If you want to buy a Stradivarius violin, first of all, you're gonna have a hard time finding one, and second of all, you're gonna be spending probably tens of millions of dollars. He made 960 violins in his lifetime, and to this day, there's only about somewhere between 200 and 250 that they can account for, but they believe there is more. Now, later on in Italy, in 1796, a man named Luigi Turrisio was born, and he took a great interest in carpentry, but eventually became more interested in violins. So he began to deal in violins and trade in them. He did have Stradivarius violins, among other very high-end violins. And he boasted about how he had he acquired a 1716 violin that was virtually unused. And he would talk about this anytime he ever visited Paris, but he never produced it. And the more he talked about it and the less they saw it, the more easy it was for them to nickname this violin the Messiah. And so eventually, as it happens with everybody in due time, Luigi died. And they found his body in the dingy attic of his home. And they discovered that not only did he have very few earthly comforts, but he also had an attic full of violins, as you might expect. They were everywhere. And in some drawers stuffed away, they found no less than 24 Stradivarius violins. And one of them was the Messiah. Now that's Luigi Turrisio. And when they found the violins, it had been 147 years since they had been played. The Messiah apparently had never been played at all. No bow had ever rubbed across the strings. No sounds had ever come from them. No expression of their endearing qualities were ever heard. And yet, they had intrinsic value because they were Stradivarius violins. Here's what I want to express to you today, is that you likewise have immense value. And you have immense value not because of anything you've done, and not because you've made yourself in some sense of the word. We like to refer to ourselves as self-made men. We like to think that we got here the way we did because of our own efforts, and therefore that adds value to us. People look for signs of validation. They look for indicators of their own value and their worth in many different things. They look for it in social media. Did I get enough likes on my picture? Do I have enough subscribers? Do I have a title behind my name? Are my kids doing well? Are they making good grades? Have they made good decisions in life? Have I climbed the corporate ladder? Do I have lots of friends? Do I party enough? Am I the fun guy? Or am I just a miserable clod? You know, people are looking for indicators of their values and all sorts of things. But what I want to tell you is that your value is not found in any of those things. You might be someone who does many, many good works, who bestows charitable acts upon a great number of people who can sincerely appreciate them, and that is still not where your value lies. Now, It's not to say that all the positive traits and all the good things you do in life are not valuable. The acts alone, yes, those are valuable, but that is not where you find your intrinsic value. And even though you might have lots of friends, and you are the fun guy, and your children have turned out well, and you have climbed the social ladder, all those things are valuable, but it does not define your worth. That is not how you know if you have true worth. Here's how you know. Look at the Stradivarius violins. These 24 violins hadn't been heard in 147 years. They had done nothing. No one had ever heard them. They didn't even know if they were, nobody even knew that they were even there. They didn't even know they existed. There was speculation about whether the Messiah was real or not. And yet, those violins did exist, and they still held their value because of one thing, because of who crafted them. Do you see what I'm talking about here? Did you see how all that ties together? See, your true value is found in not by any act of yours. It's not by any successes that you might have accomplished. It's not by the decisions you've made. It's not by your kind and good acts. Your value is simply found in the one who crafted you. That's what makes you valuable. You see, you were created and you were thought of long before you were ever around. God knew your name. He knew what you would do. He knew what you would look like before your parents even did. He chose to create you. He could have chosen not to form you. He could have chosen not to craft you. But he did mold you. He did make you. And despite what you might have heard in life, you're not a mistake. You might have come from a home where your parents were workaholics. Maybe they were alcoholics. Maybe they were just neglectful and inattentive. Or maybe they were verbally abusive. And maybe they tried their hardest and they still fell short of your expectations. And you feel less than. Perhaps you married into something that you thought was going to be really good and that you've had to endure harshness. And it has made you feel like less of a person and you've questioned your own worth. Perhaps things have taken a turn for the worse in life. You thought you made really good decisions, and they turned out to not be so great. They turned out to take you in the opposite direction that you ever wanted to go, and you wonder, what kind of a person am I? I've heard people talk about themselves out loud saying, I'm so stupid. I'm a moron. I never do anything right. I'm never going to be okay. I'm never going to get this figured out. I'm worthless. I've heard people say that out loud, and the more they say it, the more they believe it. But understand this, that even if you never did anything, even if you didn't have the capacity to do anything, you still have immense value because your creator, your crafter, chose to make you. He thought of you. And he thought of you way before your parents ever did. He thinks way more of you than they ever have or ever will. And he certainly thinks more of you than you probably think of yourself. And so that is why you have extreme value. Now, all the other things you can do in life are great. All the contributions to this world, society, your family, all the skills that you acquire, all the success that you can measure, all that really does have value, but understand it does not define your worth. Those things have value. Enjoy life. Do those things. Because in the world's eye, that's what makes you valuable. And perhaps in your eyes, it's what makes you valuable. But not to God. You're valuable because you're His. He made you. He crafted you. So you have to clutch onto that. And you may say, well, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. First of all, you may be someone who says, well, I don't believe in God. So I don't really care about that. I think that's all a bunch of mush. Well, I'm sorry if you do, but it doesn't change anything. You may think it does on your end. It only changes things for you in your mind. But if you wonder if what I'm saying here is that this somehow makes you special, then the answer to that is yes and no. You are special in the sense that you are made, you are crafted. God took the time to bring you into this world, and He also provided a way for you to get to know Him. So you are very special. But if you think that I mean that you're special in the sense that you have preeminence over someone else, that you might be better than someone else, so that you have special privileges over another, no, you are not special. The world can do without you. The world can still operate and function, despite whether you live up to any of your numerous purposes or not. But you still have value, and you still have worth. So in that way, no, you are not special, but you are special in the sense that you were special enough to be created, special enough to be formed. Thank God your parents chose to keep you. And so therein lies man's true worth. You see, the reason why I say you don't have to do anything to have value, what I mean is, to God, you don't have to do anything to have value. He wants you to express who you are. He wants you to express what He created you to be. That's what the violins were supposed to do. It's too bad that the 24 violins that they found in Ceresio's attic hadn't been played in 147 years, but they were no less valuable. But when they are played and they make beautiful music, just like their crafter designed, then it just becomes a beautiful thing. Then it becomes valuable. It becomes a contribution to this world. It makes something, well, what it does is it really is a testimony to the Creator. And therein lies man's fulfillment. Therein lies man's purpose. When you shine, you're not supposed to shine to show, well, this is what I've done with myself. You shine because you're showing, this is how my Maker made me. And that is where you will find purpose. That is where you will find fulfillment. But before you do that, you have to understand that you are immensely valuable. You have great worth simply because you were crafted, you were molded, you were made, you were thought of, and you were loved. And that's what I hope you can take away from all of this. I hope I haven't left out anything that I would have wanted to say. I have a feeling when I shut this video off that I'm gonna drive away. I'm gonna think to myself, I wish I would have included that in the video. But if you have any thoughts on it, you can also add them into the comment section below. And if somebody needs to hear this, somebody in your life that you know needs to hear this, share it with them, and share it on social media. If you haven't liked it, do so now, and subscribe. All right, guys, I will catch you in the next one. Have a great day. Bye-bye.